After passing the stimulus, Democrats should have continued to propose middle-class-oriented programs and built on the partial success of the stimulus. But unfortunately, Democrats blew the opportunity the American people gave them. We took their mandate and put all of our focus on the wrong problem: health care reform. When people learn what's actually in the bill and all the good it does, it is going to become more and more popular because it is good for America, good for the American people, and a true symbol of what we can do if we all pull together.
Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer, now and then, or then and now, 5 years apart. What's going on here? Back with our panel now with Ron, Nina, and Charles Krauthammer. What is going on here? I mean, is he running for cover for himself? Or is he running flank for Hillary Clinton?
Well, this is so bizarre. I mean, first of all, what a shocking indictment of this presidency, that the major legacy, right, is supposed to be Obamacare, and you're saying he's actually pulling talking points from the Romney campaign, right, to say you should be, 85% of people actually like their health care, their health insurance coverage anyways. The middle class is crying out to end the recession, not to focus on health care, and we're not paying enough attention to the middle class. I mean, that was the Romney campaign.
Well, he also trashed the stimulus, too.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much the first time we've heard that.
Yeah, I mean, it was shocking. You know, I'm going to turn to the expert Ron on this about whether this is covering for Hillary. Does it make a route for Hillary to separate herself from Obamacare at a time, by the way, when premiums are supposed to go up next year, right?
Exactly.
So it's
he's worried about himself, but also trying to provide cover for Hillary, and it's asinine. First of all, the hypocrisy.
Asinine.
Oh, asinine. First, have they forgotten that we now all have videotape? We don't have to rely on Fox News, that we can just go on the YouTube ourselves and see what he said? You know, he's obviously contradicting himself. This is the guy who, by the way, sank immigration reform. We'd have immigration reform if he didn't want to have a wedge issue when they had control of Congress in 2009 and 2010. So he's the most cynical of all politicians.
You give this comment no credence.
Well, of course not. So he is trying to help Hillary distance herself from the president. But let me explain why that's not going to work. No matter what she tries to do, she can't distance herself from the fact that she is basically running for a third Obama term. Okay? The only way that she can overcome that is by coming up with her own agenda that is so big, so breathtaking, so transparent, so effective and modern and authentic that it overwhelms his agenda, that it dominates his agenda. She can never distance herself from the agenda because she's served in the administration. She's a Democrat. Heck, Obamacare has its roots in Romney care and in Hillary care.
And the larger point he was making is that people need to believe that government can work and can do the job, and if they don't, they're going to vote Republican.
So you have a Democrat running against the government right now is what he's trying to do. That is pretty tough thing to do.
The essence of Schumer's cynicism is precisely that he's identifying what was wrong with Obamacare and then saying it was a terrible thing, not because it's bad for the country, but because it's going to work against Democratic partisan interest. He said, for example, why did we spend all this effort on the uninsured? A third of them aren't even registered. There's only 5% of the population who are helped by Obamacare. So on balance, there are more people who are hurt. They will then oppose us politically. This is all about whether it's going to help the Democrats. He is repeating precisely the arguments that conservatives and Republicans had made at the time of Obamacare, where we argued that it was against the interest of the country to jeopardize the health insurance of the over 80% of Americans who liked it and for whom it was working. Did have this huge transfer of wealth. But most important, why did they have to essentially nationalize health care, have all these mandates, decisions on what has to be in your plan, what isn't in your plan? You lose your plan if you don't have it. The whole change of procedures, the change of American medicine in order to help a very small population who could have been helped in a very different way if you had been honest about it and said it's going to cost to get more uninsured, expand Medicaid, do it 100 other ways, and say what Gruber has admitted is that they knew in advance that it would damage a lot of folks, help a small number.
Sure.
In other words, the argument we made of why it was going to hurt the country and disrupt medicine and decrease the choices people have is now accepted by a Chuck Schumer because he sees it's hurting his party. That is a definition of cynicism.
And just to pull back the lens, I agree completely. What this illustrates is what people are so tired of Washington right now. He's talking about how this hurts my party and me. Just like Republicans too often talk about how our strategy and what we're doing hurts our party. The public wants it to be about them. You didn't hear Schumer talking about how this is affecting people. He's talking about how it hurts him and his party. No. And people are tired of that stuff.
More to come on that, right? That's it for the panels.